So this is a quote by the Buddha. And well, actually, before I read the quote, I'll read the quote first. Okay, so the thought manifests as the word manifests as the deed develops into habit, and habit hardens into character. So watch the thought and its way with care, and let it spring from love, born out of concern for all beings. And, I think we've all heard something along these lines before, that the thoughts beget the words beget the actions beget the habits beget the character. And in the Yoga Sutra, the niyamas, or the personal disciplines of our practice, are really a way for us to cultivate habits. And if we're kind of going back to the root, to the deep root, which is the thinking mind, the thought mind, instead of thinking I have to cultivate a habit of drinking more water, or I have to cultivate a habit of going to bed an hour earlier, which are great habits. But really what we need to start thinking about is the cultivation in the mind. So one of the niyamas is called saucha, which is a sense of cleanliness, purity. And I think, we can think of that on a physical level, like be careful what you eat and be careful, all those things. But really, from this perspective, it's really about purity of our mind, purity of our thoughts. So if you pay attention to your thinking mind, and if you notice what the repetition is, we all have repetitive minds. We have the chatter that's kind of in the background. And if we bring it to the foreground and we notice what's there, we can start to shift something that maybe isn't so healthy for us or for others. So, to take care, to make sure that your thoughts are springing out of a place of concern for self and others and love is really beautiful. So think about, so close your eyes for a moment and think about the patterns of your mind. So do you have a running thought of impressions that just kind of keep echoing and making their imprint on you? And if you have some that you maybe want to replace, if you have some thought patterns that aren't so healthy for you, maybe some deprecating self-talk, or something that is triggering to you, where you always kind of immediately respond in a certain way in your mind to some person or event or circumstance. Let's see what we can do to first notice. We can't change anything if we're not aware that it's there. So as you close your eyes and settle into your posture, can you sense just the state of affairs? How is your body this morning? Have you moved yet much today, or not so much today? Do you have any discomfort in your body, or are you nursing yourself back to health in some way? How's the tension level? How is your energy level? Notice how the breath is moving, either not so well or very well, or maybe this is the first time you've even noticed the breath today. As you begin to calm the body, just notice what's in the mind. And sometimes when we, ask ourselves a direct question like that, we can come up blank, or we can come up not with the chatter that's really the replay that's happening. So notice in those moments when you're not asking yourself that question, see if you can kind of notice through the side window or the back door what the quality of your thoughts are. And now think about a habit that you would like to cultivate, not one that you would like to let go of, but one that you would like to cultivate. And choose something simple, tangible. And let's choose a habit of the mind. So instead of a habit of the body, let's choose a habit of the mind. Okay, so how would you like to perceive strangers? How would you like to speak about yourself to yourself? Choose something like that. Whatever it is, whether it's for an inner dialogue with self or with others, let's just notice the origin of that root, of that habit. So let's kind of trace back the habit that you want to cultivate into what would be the mind thought to cultivate that. What is the root of cultivating that habit? For some people, this might be an affirmation. And just dance around that for a little bit and notice what it is you'd like to change in your thinking. And there's no pressure. Change is hard. Sometimes it takes a long time of preparation and repetition before something really shifts within us. So let's have compassion and kindness towards self. Now, if you've got something anchored into the thinking mind, maybe you can work your words in your mind around a mantra or an affirmation or just a sensation of the mind, the thinking mind. So see if you can coalesce around something that is really a habit of the mind, not necessarily the habit that you want to cultivate out there in the world. And you can work on this. This doesn't have to be something that you finalize right now, but just try to coalesce around a habit change in the thinking. Okay, now let's drop away from that and come back into the body and breathe in and breathe out. Let the breath create spaciousness in the mind. Relax the skull, relax the brain, relax the face. Let the breath move through you like a pure, fresh wind, a breeze that can clear away this purity of mind, cultivating the purity of mind, pure thought. Bring your hands together and bow. Offer this intention. Okay, and then let's release and come on to our back. Okay, so let's start our practice. Feel yourself begin by just lengthening your body on your mat. You can stretch your arms, you can stretch your legs. Find your way into some length in your side bodies. Notice the breath. All right, let's begin by really having a moment of gratitude. So if we want a seed thought that really can cultivate into good character, gratitude is for sure one of them. So let's plant some gratitude seeds in our mind. And go ahead and bring the knees into the chest and rock a little bit, swing from side to side. Let's circle the knees one direction, circle them another direction. And then go ahead and pull your knees apart from each other and bring them back toward the midline, finding breath. All right, right knee comes in and stretch your left leg long and feel a good, nice squeeze of the knee, a squeeze of the hip, lengthen your spine. Feel free to move your feet around. So we're just warming up. We're just getting to know little parts of our body, kind of bringing strong sensations somewhere so that we have a sense of waking and aliveness. Switch sides, left knee and right leg comes along on the floor. Wiggle your toes, move your ankles. Come inside of your breath. And then bring the knees back in. Open your knees apart from each other one more time.
and swing them back in. We're going to turn this into a happy baby pose. Now be very gentle. This is a big pose for the beginning of class. So perhaps hold up behind your knees instead of your feet. And then let's just rock a little bit, swaying from side to side, letting your back body open. And then straighten your left leg out, bend the right knee. You can even tip to the left a little bit. And then straighten the right leg out a little bit and bend the left knee and tip to the right. Just kind of going back and forth from side to side, just a little bit. And then release, put your feet down onto the ground, and let's twist here. So windshield wipering the knees, just waking up twisting actions in the body, dropping knees left, turn your head right, stretch your right arm. You can pause and hang out there if you want. You can keep moving if you want. Notice your breath. All right, now let's starfish out. Spread your limbs, wiggle your fingers and your toes while you're out there. Take a deep breath in, hold your breath just for a quick moment and squeeze all your muscles, including your face. Just squeeze, squeeze, and then let the breath out. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, pick up your head. Hold your out breath and squeeze, squeeze. And then find some movement with breath. No more holding breath. Spread your limbs out as you inhale, and then curl yourself in as you exhale. One more time. All right, release your head down. Let's roll over onto our side and come up onto our hands and our knees. All right, let's start moving through some cat-cows. Noticing the body, breathe well. And you can move through cat-cows. You can also start anytime you want to move the spine in all sorts of directions. So try not to have attachment to any one movement pattern. Just let your body be free. And then drop back, settle the hips toward the heels. Walk the hands out in front of you and stretch into child's pose. So take your arms in a comfortable place, your legs in a comfortable place. Start to breathe all the way down the back side of the body. Relax your neck. And come back up. Down to all fours, another cat-cow. And then relax. We're going to take our left leg straight back behind you. Curl your toe under. And then cross that leg over to the other side and turn and look out over that foot. Okay, so we're having that sense of opening up the side of our body a bit. Stretch through the low back, the hip. Breathe well. And then come back to center, back to child's pose. Settle the hips. Up onto all fours, left foot comes, or right foot comes back, whatever foot you just didn't do. Then cross that foot over, square up the hips and turn to look at that foot. Breathing well, open up the hip, open up that space between the ribs and the pelvis. Move back, child's pose again. All right, let's find our way up to dog pose. And root into the four corners of your hands. Feel the anchoring that the earth gives you. So we're dropping in and then we're rising out. We're having that sense of experience where we root to rise. So what does it feel like to you to have that grounding, to steady yourself, to feel melty into the earth and then to push off the earth and reach through your body? Breathe well. Feel free to pedal if you want to drop one heel down and stretch open the foot and the calf, and then switch sides. Whatever feels really good for you. So take your practice just right for today. Hug the hands toward each other. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Let's walk forward and come into Uttanasana. Fold deeply. Let your knees bend as much as you want. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine is growing. Exhale and melt again. Soften down. Push off your feet, rise up, bringing the arms to the sky. If you're dizzy, you know what to do. Just squeeze to the midline a little bit. All right, so open arms, let the chest expand. Squeeze the shoulder blades, let the back body wake up, and then relax and melt. Shake out the hands. Find your breath. Take your legs wider apart. We're going to just do a simple stride stretch here. So you can come to the edges of your mat with your legs, stretch open, reach through the side of your body, engage your core a little bit, keep your neck soft, and then back and switch and open up through the other side of the body. Ground through your feet, breathing well, and then relax and bring your legs back to hip width apart. Interlace your hands behind your back, open up your shoulders, pull your hands away from your spine a little bit, bend your knees, and just let your arms move away from the back as much as they are allowed. Feel your head soften, melt into this posture. Shoulder blades hug toward each other. And then release your arms down to the ground. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt. All right, grab your 2 blocks. Okay, put your hands on them. We're going to walk our hands on our blocks over to the right, and your feet can be hip width apart. If you feel like you want to take them a little wider, you can. Reach your hip back, your left hip, reach it back, extend through the spine. And exhale and come back to center and walk the hands over to the other side. Reach your left hip, your right hip, back. Extend the heart forward, inner spiral the thighs. Exhale and melt again, fold forward. Halfway lift, spine grows. Exhale and melt again. Step back to dog pose. Lengthen through the spine here, breathing well. We're going to come forward into a plank as we're ready. Okay, so find your way into this posture, stabilizing the core, feeling the sense that your breath can move sideways out through the side bodies a little bit more. Full breaths in, full breaths out. All right, let's lower our knees down to the ground. Find your way to the ground. Roll the shoulders a few times so you get that feeling that your neck is long, you have some space. Take a deep breath in, cobra pose. Exhale and melt back down. Let's try not to hold the breath. One more time. Extend your spine. Exhale and release your body. Take your elbows and hands off the floor and elbows back. One more cobra pose with no hands. You won't go very far. Engage your core to support, and then exhale and melt. Come back down. Come up onto all fours. Move the spine around a bit. Wag your tail, whatever feels good. And then we're going to come either up to dog pose and then bring your right foot forward, or if you're skipping some dog poses, just bring your right foot forward. So how do you know whether you should skip some dog poses? Do your shoulders get aggravated by weight bearing? There's always ways to modify each day to be just right for your body. All right, so come into a lunge, let your back knee come down onto the ground. Open up the hip flexors of the back leg. Find that sense of space. Okay, and then we're gonna lift that knee off the ground and start to transition into some movement. So we're bending the front knee and we're straightening the front leg. Keep the hips square the whole time. We're just warming up the legs a little bit more here. Finding breath. All right, then steady yourself in your lunge. Rise up, crescent lunge. Bring the arms up or out or anywhere they go. Notice your floating ribs. If you're real popped out, see if you can integrate and bring them into the body a little bit more. Keep the neck soft and relaxed. Full breaths. Relax the shoulders. A little bit of a side twist here, or not side twist, but side bend. Left hand comes up in the air, right hand on your thigh. Open up the side body a little bit here. And then release and melt. Bring your hands down onto the blocks. Back foot comes forward, fold and tap. Halfway lift. Step your other foot back. So now our left foot is forward, our right foot is back. Find your breathing. Put your knee down onto the ground. Just enjoy opening up the hip flexors a bit. Open the heart. Steady the mind. So the sense of saucha, purity, cleanliness, where are your habits that help you stay in this state of purity? Do you have love and compassion as a forefront runner in your mind? When you start noticing that you are in judgment mode for self or others, can you make a shift and sink into a sense of compassion and open heart? Okay, let's lift the back knee up off the ground. Start to ground yourself and straighten and bend your front knee. Think about your affirmation or your mantra or whatever that coalesce is in the mind. See if you can bring awareness. Repeating phrases inside your head is not a bad idea. You know how you get songs stuck in your head and they just have an imprint in your mind? Like 50 years later, you can have an imprint in your mind. So let's imprint some positive things, right? So the seed thought of the habit you're trying to create. What is that seed thought? And let it be repetitive inside your mind. All habits require repetition. Reach your arms up in the air now. Extend. Find the breath. Deep breath in. Deep breath away. Let's reach the right arm up and over a bit. Left hand on your thigh. Full breaths here. All right, come back to crescent lunge. Extend open. Place the hands down onto the ground. Dog pose. Find your breath. Root to rise. So all four corners of the hands. Hug the hands toward each other. Let the weight of your toes, the weight of your hands root into the earth and then rise through the body. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Find your breath. Let's start to turn on the core a little bit more. Turn your belly to the left. And then come back, navel to the right. How is your breath? Back to center. One more time. Try not to hold the breath. We're not hoarding breath here. We're letting it flow. Back to center. Switch sides. All right, and then come back to center. Put your knees down onto the ground. We're going to come into Vasisthasana. Hand down on block or knee down on floor or 2 feet on the ground. Open up your chest. Find the breath here. Shoulder blades down the back. Deep breath in. Enjoy the open space. Exhale. Place that hand down. Switch sides. So I have my knee down to protect my shoulder, but maybe your 2 feet are stacked and you have a little more weight bearing in that arm, whichever works. Shoulder blades down. Open the chest. Find your breath. Enjoy the big space. And then exhale and relax. Place your hand down. All fours. Move your spine around. Swish and sway. As you're ready, come up to dog pose again. Bend your knees a fair amount. Feel that reaching of the spine. Lift your left leg up in the air. And exhale, bring that foot forward to a lunge. Shorten up your stance a little bit so it's less long than a crescent lunge. And rise up with your feet on the ground. Decide if you want your front foot to come out a little further to the side. Reach 2 arms up. Find your breath. Cactus open your heart. And then release your hands down. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Open across your shoulder blades and your collarbones. Drop the hands down the spine and start to lean forward a little bit. So you don't have to go very far in this pose to really feel like you have to hold yourself steady. So root your feet, engage, that front leg, the hamstring and the glute is going to stretch, but it's also going to engage and contract. So feel that sense of stability. Engage your core, feel the hands Reach away from the shoulders, the crown reach away from your tail. And then rise back up. Find your breath, back foot comes forward. Exhale, step your other foot back. Now our left foot is in the back and our right foot is in the front. Take your foot out to the side as much as you need to for stability. Lift both arms up in the air. Cactus open and then release. Shake out your hands and then interlace the fingers the weird way, the way that's not typical. It's not a habit in your body. So notice the difference when you choose a pathway that's not ingrained very well. So there's a little spark in the mind of something new. So let's do the same with our little mantra or our affirmation that we're cultivating. Repeat, put it on repeat. Open the chest, find the breath, tip forward just a little bit, ground into your legs. Engage your glutes, engage your core, breathing well. You don't have to go very far to really feel a lot of work happening in the body. Reach your crown away from your tail, reach your hands away from your shoulders. Square up the hips, inner thighs back, sit bones wide, feet are grounded. Then come back up, walk your back foot forward, relax your arms, okay? Shake out your hands. Take a deep breath in, arms up, lean back. Exhale and fold forward. Touch your toes together or stick a block between your thighs, however you'd like to be for chair pose. Squat down, inhale, arms back to begin. Let's just get our legs organized first. So root into the heels, feel your glutes turn on so that we're not just overbearing through our quads. Reach the arms up in the air now, and we're gonna twist. Take a deep breath in, exhale, twisting to the right. Inhale, stabilize your core. Exhale, twist to the left. Hips and knees, everything's unchanged in the lower body. One more time. Rise back up, going to the left. Hang out in chair pose, drop some weight into the heels, breathe well. And slowly push your way up to stand, deep breath in. Exhale, separate your feet and fold forward. Relax the base of your skull. Soften your spine, halfway lift. Exhale and melt. Let's come down onto our knees for a moment. We're gonna come back up, okay? We're going to you need blocks for this more than likely. Take your right foot out in front of you. You can put a blanket or something underneath your knee if you need it, underneath your shin. So you might want 2 blocks, one stacked under the other. Maybe 1 block is enough. So this is a little precarious balance. So find your balance first, and then we're going to find our way into a twist here. Drop the shoulders, lift up through your spine, spread open your wings. Let your right hip sink down. So try not to pop it out or up. Drop it down and in. Try not to smush your sit bones, still wide sit bones. Notice if your foot wants to turn out, see if you can point it straight. Femur bone is straight up toward the sky, kneecap straight up toward the sky. All right, relax and come back to center. Sit back on your heels for a moment, 2 legs. Find your breath, and then we're gonna come up and change sides. So now our left foot is forward, heel on the ground. You can support yourself. You can hold on to furniture, you can hold on to a chair, perhaps 1 block, maybe 2 blocks. Just see what kind of support you need underneath you for a lot of spaciousness. So you could do this with your hand on the floor, but chances are your spine's going to get a little smushy. So let's find that deep, long space in the spine. Drop your hip down, femur bone pointing straight, sit bones wide. Find the breath, twist with your core. All right, so remember the shoulder blades, drop them down, collarbones open. Try not to hunker the right shoulder forward. See if you can drop that shoulder blade down the back and open. Find your breath. Hip is sinking like there's a weight on it. Crown is lifting like there's a string, a puppet string on it. How's your breath? Exhale and release and come back down. Child's pose. Settle into symmetry, into balance. Breathe well. Either up to stand or up to dog pose. So if you're skipping some dog poses, you can just come up to stand. Otherwise, find your way here, breathing in dog pose. And as you're ready, walk your feet forward, fold in half, and rise all the way up. Arms coming to the sky, breath, bring your breath. Okay, let's pause in Samastitihi for a moment. Just find your way into the groundedness of this posture. Close your eyes if you want. Feel the midline. So feel that sense of harmony and balance between the left and right hemispheres of the body, even of the mind. We're going to root down into our right foot now and lift our left knee up in the air. Extend through the spine. And bring your arms down or even out for a little extra balance. We're going to stretch our legs straight here. Engage your core. Lift up through your spine. Root to rise. Try not to let the standing leg lock out. See if you can stay inside the breath. You don't have to bring your leg high. It could be kind of low, wherever your hip flexors are able to sustain. And then release that foot down onto the ground. Second side, rooting into the left, bringing the right knee up in the air. Feel the length of the spine, so we're not collapsing anywhere. We're finding that space. When you're ready, straighten the leg. It does not have to be super high. It can be a little lower. Sometimes lower is better because we can find the rest of our body. We're not fighting so much. Notice if you push your pelvis forward, take the top of the left thigh bone back, soften the knee, feel the extension through the body. And then relax and melt back into our left foot, left knee, lifting high, draw the knee in, feel as you hug that there's this long space in your spine, and then release the knee to be in line with your hip, arms coming up in the air and twist to the side. Drop the shoulders, find your breath, deep inhale and exhale. And then come back to center, palms coming back to the heart. Reach that front leg back. See if you can start to move your way into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Keep your hands at your heart. Extend the spine. If you fall, that's okay. You just come back. Integrate the core. Lots of core and glutes. And then come back up and place that foot down onto the ground. Back to Tadasana or Samastitihi, whichever feels better, either palms together or palms down. Take a moment to pause and unwind the mind. So when we come into balance poses, we often get very grippy and very tense in our thinking. So notice what's happening in the mind. See if you can find that saucha, cleanse the mind, the air of your breath, kind of bringing in that clean slate breeze. Root into the left foot. We're going to bring our knee up to the chest, give it a good squeeze, lengthen through the spine. Okay, and then lower your knee down to hip width height. And we're going to lift both arms up in the air. And then we twist to the right. Stay inside your breath. Feel the bottom of both feet. Drop the shoulders, integrate your core. Soften the knee you're standing on and take that thigh bone back. Breathing well. Reach that arm back up, center yourself, palms together, stretch back into Virabhadrasana 3. So reach that foot back. You don't have to tip very far. Your Vira 3 could look like this, where you're just a little bit tipped over. You do not have to be at a right angle to the floor. You can be at a right angle to the floor. Engage your glutes. Soften the knee you're standing on. Your core is here for you. Stay inside the breath. The back of the neck is easy and gentle. And then find your way all the way back and place your foot down onto the ground. And feel the draining, the ease that comes when we have two legs. So let's Let's have gratitude for the ease of our stance, for our breath, bringing in this pure, fresh prana, new energy, every breath in and out. Come into the state of the mind. How does balancing affect your brain? Are you real attached to the results? Do you get grippy at all? What can you do to find the same level of ease in a twist and a balance pose as you do as if you were in Supta Baddha Konasana? See if you can melt into the posture no matter what it is. Okay. Let's step our right foot forward and our left foot back. Reach the arms up in the air. Find your breath. Exhale, coming forward. Hand can be on a block on the inside edge of your foot and come into a revolved triangle pose. Reach the arm up in the air. Inner thighs rolling back with your sit bones widening. See if you can prevent the hunching of your shoulders. Open up the collarbone. Shoulder blades coming down the back. The crown and tail move away from each other. The grounding of this pose is really important. So feel your legs, feel your feet. Breathing well. And then exhale and release the hands down. Bring your back foot forward and come into Uttanasana. Melt your brain for a moment. Just relax. Any variation of this pose that's soothing to you, you could grab your elbows. You can put your head on 2 blocks if you want. So just find whatever feels really good for your body to rest for a moment. Bend your knees as much as you want. And we're going to step our left foot forward and our right foot back. Have a block handy on the inside edge of your big toe. All right, open yourself up. Breathe well, reaching the arms. Extend upward. Hand on your hip, lengthen forward. Bring the hand onto a block. So revolving your triangle pose. Inner thighs rolling back. Before you twist, before you go anywhere with your torso, find your legs. Ground the 4 corners of your feet. Soften your knees away from a locking out. Wide sit bones, hips are square. Keep reaching the left hip back and hug it in. Find the feet again and start to lengthen the spine. Start to twist on the exhale. Use your core. Shoulder blades stay down the back. Spread from your chest to your fingers. Keep the crown and tail moving away from each other. Keep the rooting of your legs. Stay with the breath. All right. Come out of the posture. Relax. Hands down onto the ground, dog pose. Feel the sense of symmetry. Feel free to take your legs wider apart if you want. Breathe well. Repeat whatever you're saying inside your head. Just keep repeating. Gentle kindness, compassion. Let's come forward into a plank. Legs can be wide or closer, your choice. Integrate into the center from all sides. Put your knees down. Let's find the ground. Any back bend of your choice, but I might recommend taking your legs a little wider if you're going to lift your legs up off the ground. Just feel into the compression of, the hugging onto, not compression, but the hugging onto your sacrum. And then exhale and melt. Come up onto all fours. Have a moment here to swish your spine. And drop back into child's pose and let your back relax. Start to check in and notice if the spine is okay. Twisting, we've done a couple twists now. Twistings are not always so easy for the back. One of the best ways to protect our spine in twisting postures is to have length in our spine and support from our core. So this next pose is a little tricky on the twisting side, so you can always make a different choice if need be. Come on up either through dog pose and then walking your feet forward, or just come up to stand if you're skipping some dog poses. Okay, so you can do this pose with support in a few different ways. If you want to have your foot on a wall, you can do that by measuring yourself to the wall, so you're at a right angle to the wall with your legs. If you want to put your hands on a piece of furniture, you can measure your body at a right angle to the piece of furniture. So just kind of decide, how you're going. We're going to do revolved Ardha Chandrasana. So if you, however you want to support, maybe you don't want any support, okay? So we're going to first just come into Uttanasana and then come into a half lift. We're going to drop our weight into our right foot, and we're going to lift our left leg up in the air into half splits. Now find this first, extend, engage your legs. Now when you're ready, so pay attention, your right foot is on the floor. You're going to take your right hand on your hip. A lot of times when I teach this in person, a lot of people end up in just straight Ardha Chandrasana. We're revolving our Ardha Chandrasana. So left hand is on the block, right hand is on the floor. Now, if you feel wobbly on the blocks, stack 2 blocks underneath your hand so that you have a broader base of support. Reach into that leg in the air and start to twist to the side. Maybe your arm comes up in the air, maybe it stays on your hip. Reach that leg so the glutes are working strongly, the hamstrings working strongly. Root to rise, long spine, twist with your core. Shoulders down away from the ears. And then exhale and come back to center. 2 feet, 2 hands. Halfway lift. Feel the deep reach of the spine. And then exhale and melt. Bend your knees. Relax your head, melt your skull. If you did that pose in the middle of space in the room without support underneath your hands or underneath your foot, you felt like it was a little challenging, you can always change and go to a wall and put your foot against a wall. Just make sure you measure so that you're at right angles, okay? Find your breath. We're gonna come down to the second side. So hands on blocks, 2 hands on blocks. We're gonna rock into our left foot and balance on our left foot as we reach the right leg up in the air for half splits. Now I know for me, putting my hand on a tall, skinny block is a little precarious. It can be a little wobbly. So you can always stack the blocks with a little bit more sturdiness. Okay, half splits, where our left foot is on the ground, our right leg is in the air. Our left hand is on our hip, our right hand is on the block or blocks. Start twisting to the left. So lift that leg in the air, engage your core. Shoulders are away from the ears. We're not taking this pose in our neck. Breathe your way here. Maybe your arm lifts up in the air, maybe it does not. Find your way. Soften the knee you're standing on. Lift that hip up and back. Keep engaging through your leg in the air. Relax your neck. Drop the shoulder blades down so your upper traps are not doing the pose. Stay in the breath. And then release and melt to come. 4 points of contact. Come back to dog pose. Hands on the ground. Walk your feet back. Breathing well. Take your legs wide. Toes on the edges of the mat. Turn your toes in. Deep breaths here. Melt the brain. Melt the skull. 4 corners of hands, rooting down. All right, come forward into a wide-legged plank. Keep your feet where they are. Integrate into the core. Find your breath. Put your knees down onto the ground and find the ground. Bring your legs wide apart again. So if you brought them in, stick them back out so your toes are touching the edges of the mat. Put your hands underneath your forehead. Inhale and lift just your legs. Hug onto your sacrum. Find that sense of symmetry across your pelvis. And then exhale and release and melt your legs back down. Bring your legs a little closer. Cobra pose. Open the chest. Exhale and find the earth. Come back up onto all fours. Move the spine around any way you want to move the spine around. And we're going to settle back once you're ready into child's pose. Rest here for a moment. Maybe perhaps you'd like to have a block underneath your head. Maybe not. Just sense into what's available. Breathing well. Okay, come back up onto all fours and move the spine through some cat-cows. Rounding the spine. Arching the back. Breathing well. Okay, last dog pose. Stretch up through the spine. Breathing deeply. And then we're going to walk our feet forward and we're going to take our legs wide apart on the mat. So you can do this posture if you want with your hands on a piece of furniture or on a chair or on a couch. We're going to do a wide-legged stance. Hands come onto blocks or floor or furniture. Thigh bones back, shin bones come forward, and we're extending our spine. Breathing well. And relax a little bit lower if that feels good for your body. Just do you, you do you. You'll toe your feet in a little if they're super wide. And we're going to come to goddess pose. Bring your legs down into a bend, a nice wide squat. Find your breath here. Okay. Breathing well. Bring your hands together. So you don't have to go super deep. You can, but you don't have to. Ground into the feet. Lift through your spine. Feel a sense of broad symmetry in the body. Broad base of support a deep well of grounding. Rise up. Heel toe your feet in a little closer. Hip width apart. We're going to come into a bent knee, kind of like a halfway between Uttanasana and chair pose. Press your hands into your knees and your knees into your hands. So we're grounding our big toes and we're pulling our knees apart into the hands. Resist with the hands. And then exhale and relax. Halfway lift. Spine grows. And then find your way to the ground. Come onto your back. Pause here for a moment. Just enjoy the fact that you are on your back. Bend your knees, put your feet on the floor, and just rest for a moment. All right, we're going to bring our knees in. Rock a little bit if it feels nice. And grab your strap if you have one. If not, you can just hold behind your legs. Reach your legs straight up in the air. Extend the spine long. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Relax your head. Soften the shoulders. Root the femur bones down. Take that strap off and we're going to come into happy baby pose, just like we did in the beginning of class. Drop in, maybe you're a little deeper now. Find the breath. All right, stretch the legs on the floor for a moment. Grab a block. You're going to have your feet down. Now, if you want to do a bridge pose actively instead of passively, by all means, lift up into a full bridge. Otherwise, you can stick a block at any height. Well, not any height, either go low height or middle height. And if you want to go higher than that, stack 2 blocks underneath you instead of 1, so that you have a broadness that stretches across past your SI joints to support your pelvic bones. So you decide where you are right now. Do you want to do an active bridge pose, a passive bridge pose? How high do you want to be? Maybe you'd prefer to be very low on a block and stretch your legs straight and heels down on the ground. So just find the posture that's right for this moment. Breathe deeply and fully. Now, if it's comfortable, you're on a block and you want to lift your legs up for a moment, you can do that. Feel the sense of rooting femur bones into your pelvis. Relax. Whenever you want, if you're happy, stay. I'm coming down because 2 blocks felt a little high for me right now to do that, so I'm switching. All right, rest your body down. So take the blocks out of there. Down onto the ground you go. Feet are on the floor. Spine is on the floor. Rest into the symmetry of your body. And take the 2 blocks, one underneath each outer hip, and rest your legs in Supta Baddha Konasana. So we're flat on the ground with our spine, and you can adjust, just change the blocks to be just right for you. If they're pokey anywhere, just move them around until they're the right height and the right space for you to relax. Now, once you have your legs organized, where do you want your arms? Would you rather cactus your arms or have them overhead? Or do you want to have your arms down at your side or out to the sides? Just find what feels comfortable. Melt the shoulders. Melt the head. The skull is soft and relaxed. Full deep inhales and complete exhales. As you start to rest in the silence of your body, once more coalesce a thought pattern in the mind that you'd like to cultivate. As you are ready to transition into Shavasana, you can maybe bring your knees into your chest for a moment and then decide how you want to be. Maybe you want to stay right where you are and not move. So whatever works for you. If you need some support underneath your knees, you can take that. If you're cold at all, you can get warm, put a blanket over you, an eye pillow over you. If you need some weight over your eyes. As you drop down again, consciously melt the mind, melt the brain, melt the skull. Feel the ease come through your face. Let the breath move through you. Go ahead and breathe deeply again. Find your way into a little more awareness of energy around you, within you. Start to move the body however is best. Eventually coming onto your side and bringing yourself to a seated posture.
deeply and fully offer your energy. Send your love and care to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.